One repair shop already tried to fix this vibrant Blue PSP. They just had to replace this screen and they somehow botched it. So I bought this from a viewer for $80. Let's see if I can fix it. This video is sponsored by iFixit. More on them in a minute. It's always nice when the device comes along with a bag full of parts. At least it has the screws. So it looks like we have everything we need there. Let's just try and turn this thing on and see what happens. Yeah, we just get nothing. And since this thing's already apart, we can already start taking this off. This top front piece. I initially don't see any issues there. I'm going to start by grabbing my trusty spudger that I use as a pry tool from my iFixit toolkit. We'll also be needing some of these tools in a minute, but let's see what we need to do to pry this piece off right here. Got that? Yeah, this microphone just is not in there correctly. I don't remember how it goes, but it doesn't go like that. Okay, that's off. Now we can flip the screen up. Okay, what do we have here? All right, so looking at the board here, and initially I don't see anything wrong there. Actually, this ribbon cable is not in there all the way. Let's check that out. There's no way this is the only problem. I'm going to actually be very annoyed if it is, because it's going to be a short, not a full video. I guess it's maybe going in there all the way. That looks better anyway. One thing I want to do also is check the voltage on this battery and see if it's even good. 0 volts on the battery, so obviously it's definitely not going to start up without any voltage on the battery. So we either need to get another battery or charge this one up. So let's do that now and then just see what happens with a good battery. I was able to scrounge up this third-party battery pack. Oh, we got 3.7 volts there. Okay, so let's put that one in and see if this thing starts up. I don't think it will, and honestly I hope it doesn't, because I want to make a video about this. What? Okay, we got a green light there. The screen is definitely not coming on. Well, something's funky about this ribbon cable right here. That doesn't look right. That's because it's not even... What? Okay, let's turn this thing off. Get the battery out. That doesn't look right. Okay. Maybe that's right. So that's the original cable. No, see, that. I feel like that's not right. That's a locking tab. Something is funky about that. I guess maybe it's just a longer one. Let's also take this cable off, just so we can have a look at this new screen they got here. Okay. Now when I bought this, the seller also said that the repair shop tried to replace a fuse. I don't see any work that has been done on this board so far. And the screen ribbon cable looks okay. Yep, both of those ribbon cables look fine. So it's making me wonder if this is maybe just a faulty screen or something, but let's do a little more checking around first. I'm going to remove this black piece right here so we can see the board a little bit better down here. And there we go. Looks like maybe they forgot to plug something in here. Is that where? I'm not totally sure, actually. I think something's supposed to plug in there, and I think it's stuck under the board here. Not totally sure, but we'll see in a minute. I think we need to remove this board and just have a look at it and just see if there's any damage at all on it. And then we can move on from there. And there we go. There is definitely something going on down here. Let's take a look under the microscope. Whenever I'm repairing a device, I always grab for my iFixit toolkit because I know it's going to have everything I need. It's going to have very high quality tools. All of iFixit's toolkits are super high quality, so you don't have to worry about damaging your device because you're using the wrong tools or low quality tools. iFixit tool warranties are some of the best out there. They offer a lifetime warranty on all of these bits you see here, so if you have a problem with one or if it breaks, you can just get a hold of them and they'll send you right out another one. One of my favorite things about iFixit as a company is they're all in on the right to repair movement. They're constantly out there fighting for your right to repair the devices that you own. If it wasn't for them and lots of others fighting for the right to repair, you might not be able to fix the devices that you own if they break. So not only does iFixit offer really high quality tools, they're out there fighting for your right to repair your devices every day. So if you're looking for high quality tools or you need help or advice on the device that you're trying to work on, go to ifixit.com/TronicsFix. You can find parts and tools there. You can find repair guides. You can even find a question and answer section to help you when you get stuck. Okay, and this is the area we need to look at. You can see all the fresh flux over here, or fresh dried flux. Just need to clean this up a little bit, and we can have a look at what's going on down here. Just going to be using some isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush. Just clean this area up. Now it looks like we've got two fuses here. One F4101 0.5 amps. I'm guessing that is what used to be right here, and it looks like they've just tried to bridge that. Then we've got F2001 1 amp right here, marked LB. So the only other option I see is maybe if there is supposed to be one here, but I don't think there is. I think this is where it would have been. So the nice thing is we can just use our multimeter in resistance mode and just do a little bit of testing. So we'll check from here over to this pad. Oh. Okay, it looks like we do have continuity. We didn't before. Let's check this one. Okay, this one is good. Okay, that's interesting. I was checking it a little bit before I started filming and there was no continuity across from this plane right here over to this one right here, but now it seems like there is. So sometimes my leads can get dirty and that can cause it, or sometimes, like if you see, this is a very dry solder joint, so it's just not gonna work. With a dry solder joint like this, that can cause an intermittent connection or no connection at all between the solder and the pad. So the first thing I'm gonna do is replace this with an actual fuse, and then we can recheck and see if we have power on this PSP. So this is the closest fuse I could find. It is a 1 amp fuse, and since the other fuse is a 0.5 amp fuse, it's not a good idea to replace this fuse with the other one. But since this is really all I have, I don't really have a choice. You should never replace a fuse that's rated higher than the fuse that you're replacing. So while this isn't a good practice, I'm still gonna do it to see if we can get this board working. So since this fuse is so close to this port, I'm actually gonna remove the port first, and then I'll remove the fuse. If I just come over with my hot air and blast this fuse with hot air, it's gonna melt all this plastic, and I may wanna use this port on a different broken device. So next I'm gonna put some flux on the mounting pins. Then I'm gonna come through and blast it with hot air until the solder melts. Then we'll be able to pull that port off. Then we'll be able to get the fuse off. And that didn't work too well. I melted the inside of the port. So my goal there was definitely not met. Okay, and there we go. Now we'll just clean this area up a bit. Now I do want to test just to make sure that there is continuity between those points. I'm assuming there is, but I didn't actually check that fuse before I installed it, so it is possible I just installed a bad fuse. That would be unfortunate. So let's just go from right here, this point, over to this point. There we go. And the reason I do that is because that checks this whole path from here over to here, and that shows that both of these fuses are good. In fact, I should be able to go from here all the way to here. Yep. So all of those are good now. Now we'll get this board installed back into the PSP enough to test, and we'll see if that'll work now. Okay, this is how we go. Oh, that ribbon cable's a pain. Come here. Let's just get this board in first. I'm sure we won't forget about that cable, right? There we go. Okay, that cable, and this cable. As far as I know, this blue color, they only had in Japan. I could be wrong on that. I did overpay for it a little bit probably. I paid $80 for it, but makes a good repair story, a good challenge, so it's hard for me to turn those down. Okay, backlight is in. Now, LCD cable. Oh, there we go. That was easy. Ah! Ah, no, that's not good. This just turned into a longer video. Okay, so what we gotta do is try and get this back installed and get this clip installed onto that side, which can be pretty difficult without ruining it. This is very fragile plastic. So, let's see if we can do it. The plastic's fragile, and then also those little pins are fragile as well. They've all got to work together in order for this to work. Okay, let's try. Maybe what a bummer. Okay, so now we have to replace this entire connector. Let's see if I've got one around here somewhere. I think maybe I do. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so what I'm gonna have to do now is remove this board, heat the underside of this to remove this connector, and then remove this connector from this board and install it onto this one. As you probably noticed, that connector I removed was not the right connector for this board. Luckily, I did have another board that had the right connector, so we've got the right one here. So I'm gonna add some flux to these pads right here, and then I'm going to line up this new connector, and then I'm gonna solder on all these small pins over here, solder on the mounting pads on the board to the mounting pins on the connector, and then we should be ready to test it. And I'm using my pick to just apply a little bit of flux. We don't need a lot on there right at the moment. This will help the connector stick right here, and then it will also help the solder flow when it's time to solder these on. It's important that the connector is lined up as perfectly as we can get it. And sometimes it's not quite perfect when we're first lining it up, so I'll come in and tack one of these pins down, and then I'll line up the other side. So I might have to do that here, we'll see. I moved that locking tab closed, so then I don't damage it when I'm pushing down on these pins or down on the connector. Okay, so this is all soldered on back on. Each of these joints looks really good and it's nice and solid. So now we're finally back to where I was before I broke this locking tab. I still feel like maybe it was like loose or broken or something already. I usually don't make those kind of mistakes, but man, for some reason, I obviously did on this one. Either way, it's all fixed now. Let's get back to reassembling this PSP. Let's see if we can lock this screen in without breaking this ribbon cable again, or the connector. Get in there. Okay, flip down. There we go. Got it. Whew, glad that part's done. So this has to go under here, right over here somewhere. Okay, that one's in. Now the screen can fold down just like that. And this guy can also fold down just like that. Oh, here we go. There we go. And now with all that stuff on, we can prep the screen protector, and then get this part on. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean out this analog stick cutout right here. Not doing a full clean. This isn't like, you know, one of our Restore-ish videos or anything, but just want to get a bunch of the gunk out. This really isn't too dirty overall, so can't really warrant a full cleaning video on it, but maybe one of these days we'll get a PSP that'll work good for that. Okay, with that all cleaned out, let's get down to the screen protector. I'm going to start by blowing it off with some canned air. I'll take a microfiber cloth, get all these loose pieces up. This is only going to look so good because this screen protector is pretty scratched, but we want to make it look as good as we can with what we have to work with here. And you got to make sure and wipe off the front too, so you know what's on the front and what's on the back. Okay, and then the screen is actually pretty clean, so I'm just going to blow it off. Okay, now we're ready to install the front shell onto this PSP. Then we'll be able to start it up. I mean, hopefully. See if that fits down there. Oh, so much better. Okay, and last screw. There we go. Okay, pretty good. Buttons all seem to work fine. Give this back shell a bit of a clean. These really are just beautiful consoles, or beautiful handhelds, I guess, technically. Battery. Can't clean everything else and not get this spot off right here. Definitely not perfect, but pretty good. Look at how nice that looks. But is it going to start up? Let's find out. Okay, here we go. I'm a little nervous. That was a lot of work. Let's see what happens. Green light, good news. Black screen, come on. Oh, there we go. And after all of that work, this PSP is working and we were able to save another one. And if you like this video, you'll probably like the video where I bought a broken special edition God of War PSP and tried to fix that one. I'll put a link up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I was able to. Thanks again to iFixit for sponsoring this video. I'll put a link right in the description that'll take you right there. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.